their journey between Egypt
Right.
and Canaan. But none of these 42 places are as important as the fact that the Jews left Egypt. So sometimes it's more important that you leave a place than where you actually go. And sometimes it's more important that you would arrive at a place than where you leave. And in the Torah's story, I think it's most important that the Jews leave Egypt. So for me, like I had my own personal Egypt. I wrote on the porn industry from 1997 to 2007, and it really restricted my life.
I thought you were doing it for 14 years.
Well, I started in 95. It was on and off. So that was 12 years.
Oh, okay.
Max. And there was a time there where I didn't do it, so it was probably closer to 10.
Okay.
But by writing on the porn industry, like I suddenly became known as the porn guy, and all my other illustrious contributions to Western civilization is just like, who cares that Levi has written the most profound ethical code next to Thomas Aquinas, Maimonides, and St. Augustine. It's like, no, we're just going to call him the porn guy, because he interviews Jenna Jameson. Like, I was like a sophisticated multi-thread. I could both interview Jenna Jameson and write up, Dennis Prager's life story. Like, I could do it all.
And you interviewed Joe Montana.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I interviewed Joe Montana when I was a teenager. But like the porn industry was like my Egypt. I was like, it just like narrowed my life. It like narrowed my options. I couldn't get the primo women that I really needed. I needed that, and I was like restricted by Google. Like a Google search of my name would just like kill me with the ladies. So in my life, it was more important. Like if you ask, like, what's the most important event of my last 5 years, last 10 years? Probably the most important event was that I left writing on the porn industry. So that's
and
more
we're
important.
happy you did it. We're happy you did it.
So that's more important than the things that I've done, that I've accomplished since then.
It's the things that you didn't do.
Yeah, that I quit. I left a place.
Okay.
I left like Egypt, and so for the Jews, the most important thing that they like left this land of slavery, because now they can start to create something. They can build something. They've got options. When you're a slave, it's hard to build. And that also reminds me. It's not like me to talk about sex, but
It never happens. I just want to warn the audience. The guy never talks about this. This is something special.
it reminds me of when people are slaves to addictions, and there are all sorts of addictions. There are addictions to alcohol. We all know about that, and to drugs,
Okay.
and to gambling.
Okay.
But there are also addictions to a high that comes from engaging in things like looking at pornography. Like I know a lot of friends of mine who are Orthodox Jews, and they're basically addicted to pornography. And I don't know anyone who uses pornography and then it's like, oh, I feel good, I feel so strong, I feel so proud of myself, just being waxing it for 3 hours to the filthiest content I can find online. Now I feel like $1 million. I'm going to run out there and do a mitzvah and visit the sick and take care of my family. Like it degrades someone's life when they're enthralled to take pornography, or when someone's addicted to sports. Like if you're not getting anything done because you're watching so much sports, that's a damaging addiction. Or like a lot of people, men and women, mainly women, are addicted to the thrill of falling in love. Like love addicts, like they get a high from meeting someone and falling in love, and then when they're in a relationship and they start coming down from the high, they're always looking for the next high. And so even though they're in one relationship, they're setting up the next relationship. So this just goes from highs to just crashing lows. And I dated a love addict, and like she kind of set me up while she was still in a relationship, and we moved into our thing, and then she got sober. She quit sex and dating for 6 months. She went to 12-step programs. She went to therapy, and she got sober, and now she's married, and for all I know, she's thriving. But like I hear stories about guys who every waking hour they're basically thinking about porn, or wanting to have access to porn. Or other guys all day when they're not having to think about getting their work done, they're thinking about the Dallas Cowboys or some sporting event.
That's me.
Other people are like news junkies. They've got to always get the latest news. Or a lot of people are addicted to their BlackBerry or their phone. They have to constantly.
That's what they call it, crackberry.
Yeah, crackberry. Like they're just constantly. And when you're stuck in these addictions, it severely limits your life. Other people that have certain reactions to stimuli that they're just locked into, so that some people will just explode with anger whenever they get certain stimuli. Other people will just like collapse into, a mini depression whenever they get certain stimuli, and they're just locked in to how they respond to life. And that's also a form of slavery. So many of us have our own personal Egypts, our own personal forms of slavery, and we basically can't accomplish anything meaningful and substantive and beautiful and something to take pride in until we leave behind our addiction.